time, you know me, to gavel down at 4. Gavel down at 4. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back. Welcome back. This meeting is officially called to order on February 3rd, 2021 at 4 o'clock p.m. remotely. Thank you again, Board, for your continued dedication and commitment to the Board and the Wake Forest Charter Academy family. Thank you so much. Public comment guidelines. Selena, we can give those at under new business when you present that. How about that, rather than now? Just in case we have a person to join us.
Okay.
All righty, roll call, please, Madam Secretary.
Thank you, Madam President. We'll begin with Hilda Parlay.
Present.
Hilda Parlay is present. Marilyn Bonnet.
Present.
Marilyn Bonnet is present. Mark Marley is not present at this time. Selena Gary is present. Nicholas Gorneau.
Present.
Nicholas Gorneau is present. Scott Dable is not present at this time. Willie Thompson.
Present.
Willie Thompson is present at this time. Madam President, we have 5 members of the board present, so we do have a quorum. I will now go with the non-board members in attendance. Brandy Gill.
I'm here.
Brandy Gill is present. Kaditra Cooper.
Present.
Kaditra Cooper is present. Donna Rasco.
Donna's present.
Donna Rasco is present. I believe that's concludes the non-board members present at this point.
All righty, thank you, Madam Secretary. Approval of the agenda. Approval of the agenda. As you look over, do we have a motion?
Madam, it's Marilyn. I move we approve the agenda February 3rd Board of Directors meeting as written.
Is there a second?
This is Nicholas Gorneau. I second.
It has been moved by Marilyn Bonet and seconded by Nicholas Cornell that we approve the agenda as written. Discussion. If not, all those in favor, roll call, please. Madam Secretary.
Hilda Parlay.
Approved.
Hilda Parlay approves. Marilyn Bonnet.
Approve.
Marilyn Bonnet approves. Selena Gary approves. Nicholas Gorneau.
Approve.
Nicholas Gorneau approves. Willie Thompson.
Approved.
Willie Thompson approves. Madam President, we have a unanimous decision to approve the agenda as presented.
Thank you very much, Board. Board organizational matters. Does anyone have any board organizational matters? I do not. All right, then, moving on to the President's report. And Kaditra is going to project it or my sheet. And of course, we always start with the average daily membership. I thought I'd try something different this time, have the links as opposed to several pages. And that would help Kaditra. All right, looking good. As of February 1st, 2021, the capacity is 760. We have 754 enrolled, 11 available seats, and 1,051 on the wait list. As I always say, we are still strong. We are still strong. Questions about the ADM? Thank you. The next item is the allotment, and it will be as of January 28th, 2021.
Oh, I'm sorry, I have to go back.
Okay, that's okay.
Huh.
Just a little glitch. And while she's doing that, as you know, we always have the enumerations of the different categories, especially the coronavirus funds that we were allocated. And how you looking?
It was the link, the second link wasn't working.
Let me pull
Worked
them
when
up.
it worked when I tried it, but okay, here we go.
Okay,
Sorry about that.
we just have to be a little patient, don't we?
Yes, ma'am. One moment.
Okay. And while she's doing that, we're in the 5 million figure. I will say that. So we do have funds to operate and to take care of business. How are you looking now?
I'm looking good. There we go.
Okay.
There you go.
All righty, fantastic. That's pretty too, isn't it? Okay, as of January 28th, you see the allocations on the left under the State Public School Fund, and the subtotal is $4,866,656.50. And scrolling on down to the federal programs, you see those allocations on the left there. And the subtotal of that, $190,866. And the grand total is $5,057,522.50. And DPI sends this to me religiously throughout the month, and I always choose the latest because there are subject to be some changes. All righty, any questions about that? All righty, thank you. The next item on 9 is the NC Access Program Equity Working Group. I was asked to participate on the group, and knowing me as you do, I could not say no, especially now that equity is a big thing across the state. It's a big initiative with the State Board of Education and, of course, with NC Access Program. Now, the NC Access Program, that access stands for Advancing Charter Collaboration and Exchange for Student Success. And there are 19 members on that group. And what we're charged with doing is to ensure that all students will have the same educational opportunities without any biases of race, class, language, proficiency, disability, sex, and other factors such as economics to attend a high quality charter school. So what this group is charged with doing, in addition to that, is we have to develop a plan to tell the story of charter school equity, brainstorm metrics and data points, discuss data quantitative issues and pitfalls, and then have feedback and discussions when we meet. Our first meeting was on January 6th, and of course we meet remotely, and we're given tasks. We break up into Zoom rooms. And the last task was 3 parts where we had to come up with goals of reporting on the state of equity within our schools. And then what would it look like for the NC Access Program to tell the story of charter schools? And in an ideal world, with no limitations, what metrics or data points would give a complete picture of equity in a school? Now, what we mean too by equity is that even in advertising, we can't just show all white kids, all Black kids, all Asian kids, or whatever. We have to depict the membership of our enrollment, if you will. So if we're on Facebook, we can have one particular group. It could even be those who have disabilities over all the rest. So we have to include all types of students who attend Wake Forest Charter Academy. And we have to always be aware of when things are published, that we do show that we are not discriminating against race in any way. So let's all keep that on our back burner. And I've also been in touch with NHA over the years of how our website looks. I remember when we first started and we were passing out those cards, founding board members, if you remember, at the Christmas tree lighting.
I remember.
Boards had cards, had a little white girl.
Mhm.
And we do not want to say, well, this is a school of all white girls, or we are going to just have all white kids. So we have to always, always, always be conscious of what we will reflect in our marketing to our community. Because, our website is on the World Wide Web, and there could be a lot of parents out there who will look at us and want to apply, and then they will say, oh, are they this type of school or that type of school? So this is very serious that we have to always, always show equity at Wake Forest Charter Academy. And the next meeting for this group is February 16th. I'll bring you back an update with that. And I'll share more too about the NC Access sub-grant, even though it doesn't apply to Wake Forest Charter. It's for new charter schools opening up. But anyway, I just wanted to share that with you so that we would keep that on our radar. Our February moral focus, of course, is courage, standing up for what is good and right. Are there any questions or comments about my report? Thank you very much, then, board. That is my report. Management reports. Principal Gill.
Hello, everyone. I do notice on the screen that Mark has his hand up.
Yes. I didn't want to interrupt, Madam President.
Yeah, I just want to let everybody know I was here. Sorry about that. I'm calling in on a separate line ending with 2966.
Thank you. And what time
Mark,
did you
can I
call in?
ask what time you joined us?
Okay.
It was 4:03, let's say. Somewhere
Thank you.
between 4:03 and 4:05. Sorry about that. Sorry for the interruption.
Thank you, Mark. We're glad you're here. We appreciate it. All right, Principal Gill.
All righty. I am going to pull up my presentation for you guys. Let's see here. Well, good afternoon, I should say, to everyone, and thank you for joining. The first line item that I have is action items from our last meeting, which was survey results for Plan A, and I have that to present to you guys this evening, or this afternoon, rather. Walking away from our meeting last time, we wanted the parent results of a survey. And so I took a survey of the parents in K-5, since that was in question for our Plan A and what parents wanted to do. And so here are our results from that survey. Of the 386 responses I had, we had 82% kindergarten families, 87% of first graders, 67% of parents from second and third grade responded, 74% from fourth grade, and 80% from fifth grade. The options that were presented to parents were virtual, hybrid, and either 4 days or 5 days of face-to-face instruction. And our K-5 families had 64.8 or almost 65% of our families wanted 4 to 5 days of face-to-face instruction for our kindergarten through fifth grade students. 18% would like to stay with Virtual Academy, and almost 17% want to stay in our hybrid model as is. So next up is, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I didn't change the slide. There you go. There's our nice graphic for that. Next up, I want to show you guys some school logistics. We had some slight changes to our school logistics coming back in January. We did have some families that transitioned over to virtual. From December to January, our virtual enrollment increased by 19 students. Currently, we have our hybrid A population decreased by 12 students, and our hybrid B population decreased by 13 students. That was from December to returning to school in January. So next, our staff survey. I agree with staying with hybrid instruction. This is over time, our August, September survey, our December survey, and then our January, mid-January survey. And so we have almost 92% of staff that would prefer to stay with hybrid instruction, and 8% of staff that think that we should not stay with hybrid instruction. Next up is the second question of our staff survey, which was, I agree with moving to Plan A. And again, we have the pictures here of over time, August, September, December, and January. January having 92% of our staff do not want to go to Plan A, and 8% of our staff are ready to move forward. And these are our staff members that will be teaching our K-5 students. Not much has changed with our class coverage in regards to our teachers. We still have the 4 teachers that are virtual teachers that are designated for our students that indicated they like virtual academy. And then we have increased our substitutes. We now have 7 substitutes. I would like to share that is really greatly needed. We've had quite the time of trying to keep our building full in the month of January. However, thinking forward, we do have some maternity leaves coming up for our teachers. So some of those subs have indicated interest in covering long-term sub positions, which is good and bad at the same time. So we'll work on getting those maternity leaves covered with our in-house substitutes. Some great news with our participation overall with our students, how they've been doing. We've made the top 5 in NHA organization for attendance. So our kids have been coming to school, whether it is hybrid or virtual, which is really great. We have about 94% in attendance and going to Google Classroom on Monday, Tuesday cohort, and our Thursday, Friday cohort. Wednesday classroom, Google Classroom attendance is as high as 97%. And that was the attendance numbers for this week. Overall, we've met our attendance goal of trying to stay above 90% for our charter school goals on an ongoing basis. So that was my section of wanting to give you guys an update on our action items from last time. And I want to, let's see here, I can stop sharing. Other items that I would like to, briefly discuss in my principal report are highlights. We've done some community marketing. Latoya Rao is our ambassador, and she does a really good job with our marketing. She and I sit down and brainstorm once a month. And this month, she went out to area preschools and she supplied a snowflake activity. She also is sending out things to middle school students, challenges to discuss our moral focus trait for this month, which is courage, as Madam President mentioned. And they will have a little origami fish to put together. And this goes out to our new families that have applied and been accepted to our school. We did this year, we did a midday enrollment information meeting for parents, and this was trying to meet the dynamic of everyone with different types of work schedules. And we did have very high attendance for that. And that was like a come and learn with us during your lunchtime type of meeting. And we had 40 families attend, which is about average for the information meetings that I've conducted with LaToya. We've had roughly 50 to 60 families. So a midday one at 40, we felt was a really good number for an enrollment meeting. We are keeping our spirits positive over at Wake Forest Charter with our teachers and keeping a great culture. We have some monthly challenges going on for our staff members, and they seem to be enjoying that. Inside your packet, you'll see we recently celebrated the 100th day. And one of our students, she went all out with her attire to come to school dressed as you are 100 years old. And so I think that our students had fun with that. And I was even surprised that some of our middle school students also took part in the 100th day of school. So typically we think that the 100th day is for our lower L's, but our middle school students still had fun with that on Monday. Thinking about our charter school goals, goal 1 is that we continue to meet and exceed growth. So our students are working this month to complete benchmark assessments, and today was our first day of check-in assessments. So we will have those results hopefully by the end of the month so that our teachers can utilize that data to formulate instruction and make sure that we're meeting the needs of all of our students. And then goal 2, keeping a balanced budget. We have a healthy budget at Wake Forest Charter Academy. And then goal 3 was our attendance rate to stay above 93. And as I shared, we made the top 5 for attendance in NHA, and we've been maintaining a 98 daily average attendance rate. Item number 4, updates from the parent network. We are going to host a booster-thon fundraiser, and that is planned for March. And that is, we're looking at having that virtually, like a virtual dance party. I believe that is the same thing that they did last year. Those funds will go towards the construction of our basketball court and supporting that. I've been working with NHA to make sure we have the ball rolling with that, and hopefully we will start construction next month, if not the end of this month. We are in the final stages of finalizing everything, so that's moving along as well. Number 5, I have some upcoming events listed for you guys. We have February the 15th is President's Day, and there's no school. Staff updates. We do have someone that I would like to seek approval from the board, and that is our EL teacher. Let me pull up her resume so I can tell you guys a little bit about her. She currently has her master's degree.
All right, Ms. Gill, this is Donna. May I interrupt?
Yes.
Were we intending to do that in closed session?
I'm sorry.
Yes, I was about to unmute and say that only has to occur in closed session, Principal Gill.
Okay, sorry about that. Thank you.
No problem. Yes.
We currently do not have any open positions, so I'm very happy about that.
Uh-huh.
But are still looking for subs, so we're always hiring subs. I will ask that if you have any questions about anything that I've presented so far.
I have a comment. Very thorough presentation. Very thorough. And appreciate the time and effort put in it to create and report.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Board members, questions or comments?
Madam President, this is Nicholas Gorn. I have a question for
Yes,
Principal Gill.
Nicholas. Yes.
Principal Gill, I'm just curious if we've considered doing something similar to what Wake County's done with substitute teachers, with incentivizing, 5 days, 10 days, 13 days in a month. That's what they've done at Wake County level.
So yes, NHA does have an incentive program for our substitute teachers where there is the substitutes are incentivized for coming in for a certain number of days. And I do apologize, I do not have the specifics on that. But I can definitely have those for you next time.
All right, thank you. Nicholas, any others? Any others? All right, thanks again, Principal Gill, then we'll move on. Do we have any new school hires to introduce? Principal Gill?
No, they are not on the call. I
Okay,
because she doesn't start until tomorrow.
yes, okay. All righty, board fund report, Khaditra.
All right, can you all see my screen okay?
Yes, we can, yeah.
All right, perfect. So as of January 22nd, 2021, you all have an available balance of $35,563.57. And you can see all the resolutions that have been approved and also inclusive of your rollovers and your 2% state aid on this particular document. Any questions regarding your board fund report?
I have none. Mark, do you? Or any other board member?
I didn't see anything unusual. Frankly, have not had an opportunity to review it in detail, but didn't spot anything unusual.
All righty, thank you. Any others before we move on? Okay, thank you. Second quarter financial statements. Ms. Cooper, excuse me.
That's okay. All right, so the financial statements start on page 11 of your PDF. And this is 6 months ending as of December 31st, 2020. And your total revenues and transfers have a percentage of budget remaining at that point, 54.86%, and your total expenditures at 55.31%. So of course, you're halfway through the year, so the marker is about 50 or above. So you guys are spending on trend as far as that's concerned. And then I think I had spoken to you before about just including like maybe a little supplemental type document in as well to help you see your variance in your percentage of budget remaining and your year-to-date actual in a more concise document. Well, that's the document that's before you right now.
Mhm.
So,
It's great information. Thank you.
Yes, it is.
Mhm.
right.
Easily understood too.
Okay. And then we'll go into your regular reporting that you're typically used to seeing. So if anyone has any questions, of course, you can always email me or ask me now. I will tell you that these particular items right here are your, there we go. Those are pretty much connected to COVID, and they are funding that we have spoken about in the past, I think in earlier months, where I think the ESSER information actually came directly to you, and this other grant information has been included in your packets.
Okay.
Khaditra, only one question that you probably can answer, or maybe the principal can. In the previous reports, page 10 on the board packet report, showing transportation, pupil transportation services.
Mm-hmm.
We had a $6,000 budget. We've exceeded that. Can you explain what that is?
And would you highlight it for us, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Is this the area, Mark?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Mhm.
Can anybody tell me why we've spent $6,000 on pupil transportation when we hadn't had kids in school?
Right offhand, I wouldn't be able to, but I can definitely follow up.
Okay. All right. No problem. I wasn't sure if you would, but I thought maybe somebody would know something. It may be related to something else that I'm not familiar with. It just kind of stuck out there.
Okay.
Yes, I'm sorry. I can't provide any information around that either.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I'll follow up via email.
Okay, thank you, Mark.
All right.
Is that it, Madam?
Yes, ma'am. That concludes
Okay, good.
the second quarter financials.
Okay, I just noticed during the second quarter, the contracted services were running a little tight, even though they were under budget, but just an observation there. Any
What
other
page are you referencing?
contracted services?
Oh, just in general?
Right. Well, based on the report, the numbers as opposed to what was allotted and what was spent was a little tight, but not over. Okay. Okay.
And Madam President, just to tell you too, for contracted services, if you go to page 19 of the board packet, I can
Mm-hmm.
also project, it pretty much always includes like a monthly invoice to tell you exactly what went into it month by month. So within the packet, it has for October, November, and December.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Got you. Thank you very much.
Mhm.
All right, treasurer's report, please, Mark.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam President.
Yes, sir.
For the board fund account ending January 31st, we had 66,017.58. That was in the actual account. And then well, bear with me 1 second. I had it open and I had to close it, had to reopen. That balance as of January 31st in the operating account is not to be found until I click that button. So we had 616,572.68. That's 616,572.68 at the end of the month for the general account.
Okay. Thank you very much. Is that it, Mr. Treasurer?
Yes, ma'am.
All
Other than that, I
right.
think we're running, I'll just add that I think we're running very well considering the obstacles we've had this year, and the team behind the scenes have done well to get us the funds we need in order to do so. So thank you for our new principal and everybody at NHA for doing so.
All righty. Thank you. Ditto, ditto, ditto. All right, discussion items. 8A, operating model for grades K-5. I will say at this point, the Governor Cooper sent us, well, said the board chairs, a letter that I sent over earlier, and he was recommending, note the word in the second paragraph, we write today to strongly recommend that all public schools provide in-person instruction using the safety protocols outlined in the North Carolina Strong Schools Toolkit, et cetera, et cetera. But I did notice that he said recommending. Now, based on Principal Gill's report, we see what the teachers are saying. And I'm looking for comments from you, the board. What do you think about how we should operate grades K-5 and the whole school, if you want to include that part of the conversation too? We can start with K-5. Do I hear comments?
Yeah, this is Nicholas Gorno.
Yes, Nicholas.
I do have a comment. Just from like the last week or so from the CDC reports and to Governor Cooper's letter that I appreciate that you've included here. Just the emotion, some of the science that's come in on the emotional side of things of our students, and seeing how Wake County is moved. I strongly support moving to at least a 4-day, if not a 5-day plan of getting back to plan A. I've seen it with my students at home, and just the importance of that social interaction. It's been nice to get back to 2 days a week, but I know academically, socially, emotionally, it's so important for these kids, and that's something I had to say here. And just seeing some of the recommendations, I think they line up with that. That's all I have. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Nicholas. I guess it really pays to have a student there. Then you can really, really, really see, what your own kids are going through. Thank you for sharing that. Any other comments, please? Now's the time to speak.
Madam President, may I speak, or is it just for the board?
Well, I would like to hear what the board has to say first, and then, yeah, of course, you can make a comment. Board, we need to know what you're thinking because um, it will be the board's decision overall.
Madam President, Mark is raising his hand.
Okay, thank you, Mark.
Thank you,
I
Madam.
can't see you raising your hand.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So the
Yes, Mark.
question, I guess I have to leave it as a question in that I know the teachers are finding it more comforting to be at home, but I have to side with Nick that I believe it's important for our children to interact socially, and I think that's where parents need the kids to be. So I would be inclined to defer to the parents' survey to encourage increasing the face-to-face capability if we can do that, even if it's gradual.
Mhm.
Again, not being the one paying as close attention as I should be as a board member, but doing 4 days a week or evolving to that as soon as possible, I think would be important for our kids to learn and socialize with all the protocols that we have and the capabilities we have. There's available cleaning solutions, and we have a budget that could allow for additional cleaning solution opportunities. So I just would like to see these kids interact again safely.
Thank you, Mark. Did you mention 4 to 5 days or maybe 4 days?
I got to defer that to the experts that run what goes on there. I don't want to pretend to know the answer to that, so I have to defer that to the principal and doing the best for her team, but also making sure we're educating the kids in not just formal education, but the education that comes as a side to that, the life
Right,
education.
excuse me. I was asking in case you may have had a preference or a suggestion, which is okay.
I've got to
have a
defer that to the
suggestion.
principal.
Yeah, but you can have a suggestion as well.
Suggestion would be 4 days at least.
Okay. All right, Principal Gill, you ready? Hello.
Yes, I'm here.
All right.
So I would like to say that the teachers are definitely ready to have the kids back in school. I believe part of it really is as it would, kind of looking at some of the things that our parents have requested in our parent survey. Our concern is that in between the 3 weeks that we were back in school in January, and we can't control others, we had about, I would say, 20 kids that had to be quarantined, along with a handful of staff members. And so it leads our teachers to have some concern about our community's support in going back into the classroom. Because if we're asking for our families to keep everyone in our community safe so we can return to school, that has been a concern. And talking with some of my teachers, like, will our community members support if we do open the building to minimizing travel, helping kids wear masks correctly, making sure you're not sending your kid to school sick. And those are the worries of our staff members, because that is what they're facing every day, is that some of our Wake Forest community is not, I guess, like abiding by those particular rules. Another big concern is spacing in the classroom. And so trying to make sure that if we do go back 4 days, it is going to be really hard in a classroom to have 25 plus students in a classroom and try to keep them 3 to 6 feet apart. And so looking at, yes, if we're saying we want to provide the option of at the minimum 4 days a week, which would be preferred, a 4-day a week with a Wednesday closed day to sanitize the building in the middle of the day, and then again, sanitizing on Friday so it can sit over the weekend. To have something like that and keep our classroom sizes small, because it will be hard to social distance kids 3 to 6 feet in those classrooms. some teachers have asked for plexiglass shields to go around at least their desk. And those are things that I can look at purchasing for our staff members to help them feel more comfortable, and additional PPE. So those are some, I just wanted to put out to the board some of the concerns of our teachers and what we're facing every day in Wake Forest. But for, on top of all of that, our teachers do want our students back in the classroom. And we do have some parents that want to stay virtual. And, going back to a plan A, looking at our K-5 classrooms and middle school, hopefully staying hybrid, we would be looking at having some teachers, having some students for the bulk of their day taught or instructed by a teacher that is virtually, while having a substitute teacher in the classroom. So although people speak of plan A as like going back to normal, it will not be 100% normal. And I just want to, put that out there so that is in the back of your minds as you're thinking about this plan A.
All righty. Thank you, Principal Gill. A lot to think about, Board, I need more reactions, please.
This is Willie Thompson.
Yes, Mr. Thompson.
Okay. In listening to Principal Gill's comments, my question or concern would be, and I think that you may be looking at a situation where you have had less cases when the kids were in school versus with the kids being home. The reason I say that is because if you think about what she said about doing the 2 days, having a Wednesday, if I look at my kids and I've got my kids with me, say the majority of the day, I know what they're being exposed to. And with these kids, and she mentioned what the community is doing, so maybe it might be advantageous for us to take the kids out of the community and have them in school most of the time rather than being home where all of a sudden they're social distancing with the neighbors' kids and everybody else.
That's a great point, Mr. Thompson.
It sure is. Thank you, Mr. Thompson. A very good point. Any others?
Madam, it's Marilyn.
Yes, Marilyn Barnett.
One objection that I am aware of from some teachers, and I don't know what percentage would be in this category, is that the governor wants the schools to open kind of soon. February 15 is kind of soon, and we just heard about this. But the teachers feel like they should be stepped up in line to get their vaccines.
Mm-hmm.
And it would seem, and I believe we're all aware that it's the vaccine availability is what's driving who gets the vaccines. But I believe that if the governor would be willing to somehow facilitate vaccines for teachers in a timely manner, that they would be more willing to go back.
Great point.
Marilyn. It sure is.
Great point, Ms. Bonet. In my last research in looking up the vaccine, I believe teachers are in a group 3, I believe, and it's still months out for us to be pushed forward because there is a shortage. So we're talking about a couple more months before teachers receive vaccines, and we're in February, so that puts us probably April before some teachers are starting to get vaccinated, which is really getting close to the end of the school year.
So my perception is that teachers are still the verbal ones, the ones who are speaking out, are fearful still that they are in harm's way and that the governor is not addressing their concern.
I would agree with that statement. For at least some of our Wake Forest teachers, yes.
Yeah.
Madam President, this is Nicholas Corner.
Mr. Gordon.
I'd like, more clarity on, I don't know if somebody here has the information. I've been trying to do as much studying on this as possible, but some of the CDC findings were that the spreading in the classroom is minimal, compared to Willie Thompson's point of it's more of a controlled environment. And of course, we do have concern for all our teachers and all our students with their health, but to my point earlier, the mental health of our students and how important that is, and the of our families and the situations they are at home during this time. I can't emphasize enough the importance for our students' health and their mental health going forward of getting back into the setting of school, and with the science and the recommendations that have been made, that it is more safe now, that we're in a better place to be able to handle these things. And I do listen to Principal Gill here and what she's saying about the control of the numbers in the classroom, but and maybe at least in the beginning, to start with the 4-day a week, that might be a good way to start. But these are my comments, and just seeing things from a parent's point of view, and just from a community's point of view of our youth and our students that we have here at Wake Forest, and the importance of that side of things. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I make an additional? This is Willie Thompson. I'd like to make additional comment. And I can say just yesterday, I was out driving around, and I was over at Millbrook Exchange Park. The outdoor basketball court, it was full. There were kids out there, and we talked about teenagers or whatever. There were kids out waiting to get on the court to play basketball. There were the playground, because all of a sudden now the playground is not roped off as being unsafe. There were several. I mean, and there was quite a few kids on the playground. So that's one of the things that I push, the fact that, okay, if you have them in school right now, these kids are wanting that interaction that we talked about. So if you can take care of that with having some of them in the school, even if it's the hybrid or whatever, you may cut down on some of that exposure. In addition to one of the reports I've heard on TV or whatever, that they were thinking that the teachers were spreading the virus more than the kids were. I think it was in another state. I don't know.
Well, it's a lot to think about. And I know this is not on our agenda for an action item today. Attorney Rasco, based on the time frame, could you shed some light as if we were to somewhat revise the agenda to include this as an action item? Would you think that would be feasible today?
Donna, you're on mute.
Attorney Rasco?
She's on mute. I don't think she might not realize it.
Okay. Attorney Rasco, unmute, please. Let's see what I see here.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I was attempting to unmute, but for some reason it wasn't working.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Technology.
Yeah. The board certainly can amend your agenda at any time to take up an item that you think you need to take up. So yes, procedurally that part is doable. Yes, I would note, and you guys have the actual letter from the governor. It has been noted that the information from the governor states that schools are strongly recommended to provide in-person instruction. And it continues to emphasize, as the guidance has been emphasizing for some time now, that these are local decisions and that each board needs to sort of consider its own circumstances. I would also point out that the Strong Schools toolkit was amended yesterday as well to offer updated guidance. consistent with the governor's letter.
Mhm.
So there is a good bit of information to make use of in trying to make the decision.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Attorney Rasco. So board, do you think based on comments that have been before us today, that we would be in a position to amend the agenda and someone make a motion based on possibly the 4 to 5 days or the 4 days in school, or go to Plan A or the hybrid? You got to decide on something, one plan or the other. Keeping
Madam
in
President.
the comments as well as what the governor is recommending.
Madam
And
President,
CDC
may I make a
guidelines.
request?
Yes, this is Ms. Cooper. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. This is Ms. Cooper. When you are doing your motion, could you include the grade levels in your motion?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All righty, because K5 is on the agenda. And based on the governor's letter and others, it may go beyond K5,
Yes.
maybe middle school as well. Attorney Rasco?
Yes,
thoughts on
Madam
that?
President, and that
Yes.
probably, I'm not sure why I'm getting feedback, but
You,
Khadidra, can you do anything with that?
I don't hear your feedback.
Okay, all right, okay.
I'm hearing an echo.
I do. Mm.
Okay.
I hear an echo.
Well, let's go mute if you're not speaking. Maybe that will help. Let's mute if you're not speaking.
Okay, I'll continue. The Strong Schools NC Toolkit, which is referenced in the governor's letter, I believe, yes, it's referenced in the governor's letter, provides the additional guidance. And one of the things that's important to note that under that new guidance, K5 under a Plan A is not required to comply with the 6 feet social distancing protocols. But 612 do still have to comply with the 6 feet social distancing. That's the primary difference in this new guidance in terms of folks trying to actually consider implementing Plan A. And I've had several schools who've had to think about that they might indeed need a different plan for K5 than for their older grades. For the older grade, for 612, social distancing protocols to minimize exposure is still required, but not specifically the 6 feet.
All righty, thank you, Attorney Rasco. Whew, this is a tough decision here, board. Well, we can't drag this on forever, can we? And thanks for showing that, because we discussed it last month and we have it again this month. And I appreciate all of the comments that were made. A lot of legitimacy to Nicholas's and Willie's for Mr. Thompson and Mr. Gourneau's, and of course, Principal Gills. So, board, are you in favor of changing or amending the agenda to place this in the action items? Will that please the board to be able to make a motion today or whatever the motion would be stated?
Madam, it's Marilyn. If
Yes,
you'll help
ma'am.
me with a motion, I will put one out there.
Okay, well, we have a few minutes
So-
before we get to it.
What we need to do is a motion to add an action item. Is that correct?
Yes. That
So
will
I
be
move
10F.
that we add action item F. And I need help with the wording.
It would be the approval of grades K5 model, to keep it simple. Approval of the K5 operating model.
Operating model,
Mhm.
okay.
And
And
then
do you
when
want
we
me,
get to the motion part, we'll work on that when we get to the action
okay.
items.
Would you like me to say the whole motion?
Yes.
Yes,
I
so we-
move I move that under action items, we add item F, approval of grades K-5 operating model.
I'll second that motion. It has been moved by Marilyn Burnett and seconded by Hilda Parlay that we amend the agenda by adding action item 10F to read approval of grades K-5 operating model. Discussion? If not, all those in favor, roll call please, Madam Secretary.
Thank you. Hilda
You're welcome.
Parlay.
Approved.
Hilda Parlay approves. Marilyn Burnett.
Approve.
Marilyn Burnett approves. Mark Marley.
Approve.
Mark Marley approves. Selena Gary approves. Nicholas Gorno.
Approve.
Nicholas Gorno approves. Scott, Willie Thompson.
Approve.
Willie Thompson approves. Madam President, we have unanimous approval of the action item, of the motion to add an action item 10F to today's agenda, which states approval of grades K through 5 operating model.
All righty, thank you very much, and thank you, board. Okay, next item for discussion is the 2020-2021 audit firm options. I contacted 3. The first one was Potter and Company, and they were located in Mooresville, North Carolina. And I got these referrals from other charter schools who have used that particular, well, all of these as a matter of fact. And I never heard back. I contacted them early January or soon after our January meeting, haven't heard a word. And I contacted Les Merritt, certified public accountant, located in Zebulon, and I sent over documents that he had supplied. And then I contacted Thomas, Judah, and Tucker out of Raleigh on Falls of Noose Road, and they never responded. So we are down to addressing Les Merritt. And as I said, I sent you, several documents stating his qualifications. And I will say that he was a state auditor of North Carolina from January 2005 until January 2009, and as a board member of the Foundation for Ethics and Public Service. So I figured since he was a state auditor, he definitely can add, subtract, multiply, and divide, and has a good record to indicate his strength. He also is the auditor for Endeavor and Voyager and other charter schools. I think there are a total of 13 where his services are being used. And I had a conversation with him the other day and asked, well, what would you charge? And he said $6,800. Then, of course, he would be on the books to do our audit for this year. Any questions or comments about the information that I sent over? But he was the only one out of the 3 to respond. All righty then, moving right along. Title IX new policy. Title IX has a new stipulation in this policy now related to sexual harassment, just not discriminated against one sex, but sexual harassment. And it's for K-12 schools as well as for universities and colleges. That means students in the building as well as adults in the building, and also carries over to school supported events such as field trips. And it could be during assemblies as well. So I got word from the Office of Charter Schools that we will have to create a Title IX new policy that would include procedures as well as the process. And there has to be a training that school members as well as the board needs to take so that we will be aware of all of it, all of what is involved. We would need a Title IX coordinator, and we would need a leadership team, and we can go far more in detail. But yes, we definitely will, and I'm sure most likely Attorney Rasco will help us to set up that policy. But yes, sexual harassment. And you know, these days, oh, it's just something to be very sensitive about and to be aware of what we need to do as a school, and especially a charter school. And I do have a PowerPoint of training when we get to that point that outlines the policies and procedures, and that we should all be very much aware of that. So that's all I have to say on Title IX. All righty, Ms. Khadidra, how about the 2021 National Charter School Conference?
Madam President, may I make a comment?
Yes, about the conference or Title IX?
Title IX.
Okay.
Yeah, this is Donna. I just wanted to share that our office has been working on that issue for some time now. And my colleague, Shantae Martin, who's an attorney down in our Charlotte office, she works with a lot of our charter schools, including some NHA schools. And she's been in touch with NHA about existing policies because we have, you guys have, NHA has existing Title IX policies, because Title IX's been around for a good while, including some components that address sexual harassment. There are some new requirements, and we've been working on updating policies in conjunction with NHA and with some other EMOs that we work with to have sort of a somewhat standard or core policy that folks can work from. The challenge right now that we are attentive to, however, is with the change of administration in Washington, D.C., there are significant expectations that there will be some changes in those policy requirements. And so we are attempting to sort of make sure we're working from the latest information and not have everybody spend a lot of energy making changes only to have the rules change under you, shortly thereafter. So I would just share that as sort of a general status of where it is. But yes, it's something we certainly have been working on and would work to bring it to the board at the earliest possible opportunity.
All righty, thank you. Thank you for that information, Attorney Rasco. All righty, Charter Schools Conference, Ms. Cooper.
All right. So the information regarding the Charter School Conference is on the screen, and the conference will be held virtually this year. It will be from Sunday, June 20th through Wednesday, June 23rd. The schedule has not yet been released, so unfortunately, I don't have any times, but sessions will be available live as well as on demand. And the cost to attend per board member is $125. So that's pretty much the gist of the information regarding the virtual National Charter School Conference for 2021. Any questions?
Thank you very much. Oh, I remember we went in person and they were very good, and several of us would attend. So maybe Nicholas or Mr. Gornell and Mr. Thompson were not able to attend the live national conferences. They might want to consider virtual. I'm getting an echo too all of a sudden, so I hope I'm heard. So think about that. Think about that, because we have an action item in regards to that.
Madam President, this is
Yes.
Nicholas Gorno. I would like to attend that the 2021 National Charter Schools Conference. So.
Oh, good. Fantastic. You'll learn a lot. You'll learn a lot. Mr. Thompson, what about you?
What was those dates again?
June 20th to June 23rd. Typically, it starts on a Sunday and ends on a Monday. So,
It's on Wednesday.
Yeah, it is on Wednesday.
Yeah, I would like to attend.
Oh, good.
I just have to verify that I don't have a conflict with the dates.
Uh-huh. Good.
And
Any
Mr.
other-
Thompson, I'm sorry, Madam President, I was just going to tell Mr. Thompson, the benefit is that it's also available on demand. So you can
Mhm.
always, if you're registered for it, you can go back and watch it.
Oh, okay.
All
That
right.
sounds good.
It does. That's a good thing they're doing this time. Any other board members? I'll have to bow out and say no. Anybody else? Because we need to put in an amount.
I will not be able to attend. This is Mark.
Okay, Mark, thank you. Marilyn? Selena?
This is
Yet,
Marilyn.
Yes, Marilyn.
I have in the back of my mind a different use for the board money, so I, at this point, would not plan to attend.
Thank you very much. And Ms. Gary, were you trying to speak?
yes, I was going to say that I need to check the dates. I would like to, but I can't commit at this time.
All righty, but we certainly have two who have said that they want to attend. So that's 125 times 2. All righty, thank you very much. Public records request. Public records request. And then after you go through your spill, Ms. Cooper, I have a couple of questions on the spreadsheet.
Oh, okay.
Would you show that please, so we'll all be on the same page?
Okay, what would you like me to show? The spreadsheet or
Spreadsheet.
oh, okay.
And you can tell why the spreadsheet is set up the way it is based on the requests.
Okay.
Mr. Stockland.
I wasn't prepared to share the spreadsheet, so I have to go on my email and get it. So hold on one moment.
Madam
Okay.
President,
Yes.
in preparation for this discussion, I had some information I needed to share with the board, but it might be more appropriate for me to do that in closed session. I didn't know if I could start in closed session so that all of that can get addressed at the appropriate time.
All right, so you suggest that we go in closed session now? Attorney?
That's what I'm recommending.
Before we get a reverberation. Attorney Rasco, are you suggesting we go into closed?
Yes,
Ma'am?
yes.
Okay. Well, I move that we end the open session to go into closed session to discuss or to consult with board legal counsel per General Statute 43-318, not 11 and 3.
Madam President, do you want to consider going ahead and planning to address your other closed session items at the same time, which include confidential student information and confidential personnel?
Yeah, but we have to discuss that with NHA, right?
I'm sorry.
We would have to discuss those two with NHA in the meeting and Principal Gill.
My sense is that all three would include NHA, because I understand that NHA has information and input for all three topics.
Oh, okay. All right, we're going backward here. Let's see. I move that we go into closed session to discuss confidential personnel hire matters pursuant to GS 143-318.11A1 and FERPA, and to confer with board legal counsel, GS 43-318.
Madam President.
Is that okay, Attorney Rasco?
Yes.
Madam
All right,
President.
is there a second? Ooh.
Madam President, I think you have an echo through your phone. Do you have computer and phone open?
No, I'm only on the computer.
Okay. There's a lot of echo on, and I didn't understand half of what was being said because of the echo. And I can hear myself in this echo.
Again, if you're not speaking, mute. And that helps a lot. So if you're not speaking, mute, and I'll say it again. Selena, will you mute, please? All right, who else has to mute? Okay, Mr. Nicholas, I can't see everyone. All right, I'll try this again. I move that we end the open session and go into closed session to discuss confidential personnel hire matters and confidential student matters per FERPA, and to confer with board legal counsel. And Khadija, you will get those GSs in time for the minutes. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It has been moved by Hilda Parlay and seconded by Selena Gary that we end the open session, go into closed session to discuss confidential personnel hire matters and confidential student matters and confer with our board legal counsel. Discussion. All those in favor, roll call, please, Madam Secretary.
Hilda Parlay.
Agrees.
Hilda Parlay agrees. Marilyn Burnett.
Agree.
Marilyn Burnett agrees. Mark Marley.
He
He
agreed.
agreed.
He agreed through the chat.
Marley agrees. Selena Gary agrees. Nicholas Gorno.
Agree.
Nicholas Gorno agrees. Willie Thompson.
Agree.
Willie Thompson agrees. We have an unanimous decision to pass the motion to end open session and go into a closed session to discuss confidential personnel hire matters and confidential student matters regarding FERPA, and to confer with our board counsel.
All righty, and we were given a link by Ms. Cooper to go into that closed session. Now, Attorney Rasco, the part that we will be conferring with you, will that be a different closed session or no? Attorney Rasco.
I think you just need one closed session.
Okay,
My input and NHA's is on the same topic.
okay, good deal. All right, board, do you have the link that we were provided with by Ms. Cooper to go into closed session? This is Google Meet.
Madam, it's Marilyn. I have a question.
Yes,
You sent an email with a cell phone number and a
we
code
won't
number.
need it now. We won't need it now. That was only for us to confer with board legal counsel. But now we're doing three things where NHA is part of the closed session.
Okay.
So what we need now is the link that was sent over, and it's through a Google Meet. Does everybody have that link available?
This is Donna. I do not have that link.
Okay. Khadija, would you send that over to her? And then we'll have to come back here for that open session.
I'm still looking for the link as well.
Okay, she's gonna hopefully send it out to everyone again. Hello? Hello, who's on the call?
Donna's still on the call.
Good. I'm on the call. Are you
I'm
in
on
the
the
new
call.
link?
I'm here, Madam President, but I have not received a link yet.
Okay,
Still waiting.
all righty. I'm in the Google Meet link. But I still am in the other meeting as well. We need to leave that meeting.
Make sure you mute your phone, your, I guess your Zoom link, because of course they'll be able to hear.
That's right. But we don't need to leave the meeting, right? Just mute
Just mute. Yes, ma'am.
the original meeting. Okay. Let me find that.
And I think for protocol purposes, maybe I can still put you guys in a break room.
Mm-hmm.
I think that just to be safe.
Are you going to put in the breakout room from Zoom?
Well, Madam President she wanted a separate link for the closed session, but I don't want to run the risk of someone's Zoom link not being on mute and someone being able to overhear the conversation. So if I put you in a break room, that will eliminate that.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I'm back in the meeting.
All
Okay,
right. And we are back live.
you're back live.
Okay, and we have everybody here from looking at the participants. All right, let's move right along to these action items. Okay, approval of the January 6, 2021 board meeting minutes. And Donna sent over some edits related to the language of the statutes of simultaneous remotely meeting. And Ms. Cooper has those comments. And the other comment I have is in item 10C. Item 10C, we need to add Dable to Scott's last name, so as not to imply a personal touch. Are there any others? Are there any others? And Ms. Cooper does have those edits supported by or written by I want to call her Dr. Attorney Rasco.
Yes.
Anybody see anything else? Ms. Cooper?
I do not see anything else.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Approval of the personnel hire. Approval of the personnel hire. Is there a motion?
Madam, this is Marilyn, I have a question.
Yes.
Before we move to approval of personal hire, do we need to go through Part A, approval of the minutes?
Oh, that would be nice, wouldn't it? Is there a motion? Thank you, Ms. Burnett. Is there a motion to approve as amended?
Madam-
Go ahead, Nicholas.
Madam President, I move that we approve the January 6, 2021 board minutes as amended.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It has been moved by Nicholas Cornell and seconded by Mark Marley that we approve the January 6, 2021 board meeting minutes as amended. Discussion? All those in favor, roll call, please.
Hilda Parlay,
Approve.
Marilyn Bonnet,
Approve.
Mark Marley,
Approve.
Selena Gary approves, Nicholas Cornell,
Approve.
and Willie Thompson. Willie Thompson? Is Willie still with us?
He is, he's on mute.
Okay.
Approve.
Willie Thompson has responded, he approves. We have a unanimous decision to approve the action items from the January 6, 2021 meeting as amended.
Thank you very much. Now approval of the personnel hire. Is there a motion?
Madam President, I would like to make a motion to approve the personnel hire.
And the name, please,
Patricia.
for the record.
Pardon me?
And the name and position for the record.
Patricia Morrison as an ELL teacher.
All right, is there a second?
Madam, I'll second. It's Marilyn.
Thank you very much. It has been moved by Selena Gary and seconded by Marilyn Burnett that we approve Tricia Morrison as an EL teacher. Discussion. Not all those in favor. Roll call, please.
Hilda Parlay,
Approve.
Marilyn Burnett,
Approve.
Mark Marley,
Approve.
Selena Gary approves, Nicholas Cornell,
Approve.
and Willie Thompson.
Approve.
We have a unanimous decision to approve the personnel hire of Patricia Morrison as an ELL teacher.
All righty. Thank you very much, board. Now, appointment of the 2021 audit firm. I move that we approve Les Merritt CPA-CFP is our new auditor.
Madam President, this is Nicholas Cornell. I second.
It has been moved by Hilda Parlay and seconded by Nicholas Cornell that we approve the Les Merritt Group to be our new auditor. Discussion? All those in favor, roll call, please.
Hilda Parlay,
Approve.
Marilyn Burnett,
Approve.
Mark Marley,
Approved.
Selena Gary approves, and Nicholas Cornell,
Approve.
and Willie Thompson.
Approved.
Madam President, we have unanimous approval to appoint the audit firm of Less Merit Group as our 2021 audit firm.
Thank you very much, board. Thank you very much. All righty, approval of the board funds for the 2021 National Charter Schools Conference. I move that we approve 2 members to attend at a cost not to exceed $125 each. Is there a second?
It's Marilyn, Madam, I second.
Thank you very much, Ms. Bonet. It has been moved by Hilda Parlay and seconded by Marilyn Burnett that we approve board funds for the 2021 National Charter Schools Conference for 2 board members at $125 each, not to exceed. Discussion. All those in favor, roll call, please.
Hilda Parlay,
Approve.
Marilyn Burnett,
Approve.
Mark Marley,
Approved.
Selena Gary approves, Nicholas Cornell,
Approve.
and Willie Thompson.
Approved.
Madam President, we have a unanimous approval to spend board funds for 2 board members to attend the National Charter Schools Conference at a cost not to exceed $125 each.
Thank you very much, board. Thank you very much. All righty, approval of the beginning teacher support plan. And Khadijah, do you want to just say shortly or briefly, or Principal Gill, what changed on the original one that was submitted?
This is Khaditra. I can speak to that.
Okay, good. I'm glad you're showing it. Thanks.
Yes. All right. So you guys had already approved the beginning teacher support plan. I'm going to say it's either November or December's meeting. So on January 19th, we actually received notification from the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction requesting an additional revision to the district's BTSP, which is Beginning Teacher Support Plan. So we had to edit the second paragraph under section K, which you will see here. And I'll go ahead and just highlight the entire area.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So pretty much with that information, it was requested that we edit to clarify who should review and sign the professional development plan. And also includes that this review should be done after each administrative conference. So that is pretty much like the minor revision that we had to make. And what we're going to have to do is resubmit this to DPI after the board's approval.
All righty. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Is there a motion to approve? I move that we approve the revised beginning teacher support plan as presented.
I'll second.
It's been moved by Hilda Parlay and seconded by Mark Marley that we approve the revised beginning teacher support plan as presented. Discussion? All those in favor, roll call, please.
Hilda Parlay,
Approved.
Marilyn Burnett,
Approve.
Mark Marley,
Approved.
Selena Gary approves, Nicholas Cornell,
Approve.
Willie Thompson.
Approved.
Madam President, we have a unanimous decision to approve the revised beginning teacher support plan as amended.
All righty, thank you very much, board. Next action item, approval of grade K-5 operating model. Now, you're gonna have to be specific with which type model, based on our discussion earlier, who would like to submit the motion? Nicholas or Mark
Yes.
or Willie or Marilyn?
Madam President, I'll attempt to make this. Madam
Okay.
President, I approve, I motion, I move that we approve K through 5 operating model to move to Plan A. Should we be specific to how many days a week?
Principal Gill, should we?
Yes, specific to the number of days a week, and also if we're doing all or just 50% capacity.
Of K-5 only? Principal Gill?
No, we can do 4 days a week with sanitation on Wednesdays so that our school is sanitized. And we can also do look at 50% capacity where half of the kids are in the classroom so we can still socially distance? Or are we looking at full capacity where we have all students back in the classroom with no social distancing?
Okay, because that's not required, is it? So
Well,
Plan
it does say in the document that Donna showed earlier that we do have to have social distance, keeping physical space between and among children and adults. And that would be very hard at full capacity.
right, but she did mention that K-5, it was not required to social distance,
The
the
6
6
feet,
feet.
the 6 feet is not required, but the top line does say to keep physical space.
Yeah,
The second line does say an X next to the 6 feet.
Madam President, my question is, how do we move to this plan and have 50% capacity? That seems like it's contradicting itself.
Well, you can say, you can include full in your motion, full capacity. But then that's bringing an issue.
Yes, and then are we also, my understanding is we would still offer virtual as well for students.
So wouldn't my question is that, like, going to this, as we saw on the presentation Principal Gill gave, there is a percentage of our students that are going to choose virtual, correct?
So yes, right
For Principal
now we
Gill.
have our virtual at 17. Let me get the exact number for you. Families that wanted to maintain the virtual is at 18% that would like to maintain virtual.
I got a question, Principal
Yes, sir.
Gill. Would you be able to do it at 50% if you made it simple to say K through 5 is going to be 50% and 4 days a week? Would that be something that would be easier for you to do rather than trying to skirt around trying to separate the grades and this type of thing?
Yes, I would say that with 50%, that is a little easier. And then looking at 50% and then moving toward like a gradual moving toward a full capacity would definitely be helpful. We also had, I just also want to remind the board, we are also at 50% on the admin team right now. So I do want to remind you guys of that as well when we're looking at trying to bring our building back K-5 with students. Something that we could gradually move into would definitely work and be better for students, as well as, looking at, it's going to take time for me to get instructional staffing in place to cover classrooms as well. Because some of our teachers in K-5 is the only area that has teachers that are not teaching, that are teaching virtual only.
Madam President, may I ask a question?
Yes.
Principal Gill, how would you, I guess, relay that information? If it was a 50% capacity for K through 5, how would students be selected, I guess, to come back?
So we've always done a survey that parents fill out.
Mhm.
And from there, we just take first come, first serve on that survey. So we would keep that same as we're approaching trimester 3, which is March 3rd. We would keep that same approach of a survey and taking the first come, first serve.
Okay.
We do have to also remember the state is stating that students with special needs are first coming back to the classroom.
Okay. That sounds like a winner. So,
Madam,
no, I suppose your plan A, then you could say the number of days, 4 days with 50% capacity, and that would keep it simple. Would you agree, sir? Hello?
Yes, I'm thinking through this.
Okay.
Now, so you're saying that with the 50%, that obviously some families would be left behind. So what would their option be? Is
Right.
you know,
I understand your question. We would take as many as we possibly could, of course, with the 50% capacity. And then the other option would be virtual for our students, because the virtual option would remain open. But if we're looking at the third trimester being, our final trimester, giving an opportunity to make sure we have the proper adult coverage first would be the gradual, and then, moving towards adding more students as we make sure that the adult supervision is in place.
Gotcha.
Because, first and foremost, I do want to make sure that I have the proper personnel in place to supervise students, because at K-5, I do have those virtual teachers.
Madam President, it's Marilyn.
Yes, Ms. Barnett.
Are we in discussion mode right now?
Yeah, we were trying to formulate a motion, and then there is a discussion part after, it is seconded.
Okay, so let me know when it's time.
We're trying to decide on how the motion will be stated.
Okay.
Madam President.
Yes,
I move for approval of. I move for approval for operating model to move to Plan A for grades K through 5 at 50% capacity, 4 days a week.
Is there a second? I'll second that. It has been moved by Nicholas Cornell and seconded by Hilda Parlay that we use the Plan A model for grades K-5, 4 days a week at 50% capacity. Any more discussion?
Madam President, this is Khadija. For clarity, when would that start?
March 3rd. Starting March 3rd.
Starting March 3rd.
Okay. So that's excluded from the motion?
Starting March 3rd.
Yeah, we can include it in the motion.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any more discussion?
Madam, it's Marilyn.
Yes, Ms. Burnett.
Just two things. Keeping in mind that there might be teachers who are still reluctant to come back into the building, and somehow letting the teachers know that we know their concerns. I have two suggestions. One, if it hasn't been done already, is it possible for teachers to have a staff meeting during which school personnel from a school that has never closed would talk and explain, what they did and how their experience went? I know that there are schools all over the country that never ever closed. So that would be one, just to give the teachers a perspective from someone who has teachers or faculty administrators who have stayed in the school the whole time. And then the other thing is, where could we find some money? And again, I'm looking at board money and maybe NHA money also, to give the teachers who agree to come back into the building money, some amount of money, and say that it's for whatever they want to use it for, but we suggesting they use it for additional personal supplies that would make them feel more comfortable. And whether that's buying vitamin C and zinc, or whether it's buying an upgraded mask, or whatever it is that would help them feel more comfortable. Is there money out there that we could offer?
Excuse me, go ahead, excuse me.
End of my discussion.
Well, I do know a local school that has never closed. There's one in Youngsville that has never closed. Any more discussion?
Madam President, Mark has his hand raised.
All right, Mark, Mr. Marley.
Madam President, I'd like to call a question.
All righty. Okay, all those in favor, roll call, please, Madam Secretary.
Hilda Parlay,
Oh, this is a tough one. Approve.
Hilda Parlay approves. Marilyn Burnett,
Approve.
Marilyn Burnett approves. Mark Marley,
Approves.
Mark Marley approves. Selena Gary approves. Nicholas Gorno,
Approves.
Nicholas Gorno approves. Willie Thompson,
Approved.
Willie Thompson approves.
All righty.
We have a unanimous decision to approve that Wake Forest Charter Academy moves to the operational model A for grades K to 5, 4 days a week at 50% capacity, beginning on March 3rd.
All righty, well stated. Thank you very much, board. Any new business? Any new business? Anything for the next agenda? Anything for the next agenda?
Madam President,
Yes, Mr. Marley.
I would like to have the board consider hazard pay for those teachers that come to work for use of whatever they choose. And I would like for NHA to come up with an idea of an amount and how it will be funded.
All righty now. You may have a problem with use the money as they choose. You mean school related, right?
Honestly, hazard pay for the teammates at SunTrust that faced the pandemic face to face, they weren't given a requirement. They were given money to say thank you for taking it the way we're asking you. And so I don't want to put any restrictions, to be honest. I think it's something that we'll say to our teams, teachers, that we care about you. We don't know what you need, but you do. And here's some money to take care of you.
I like that. That's a good one. That's a good one. Anybody else for the next agenda? Thank you, Mark. Thank you. All right, we do have
I've got a question.
Yes.
Uh,
Mr. Thompson.
As a board, looking at what we're proposing, could we face any type of liability or do we need to have the teacher sign some sort of waiver? I don't know. If, say, for instance, a teacher contracted coronavirus and a critical stage of coronavirus, and they decided to file a suit.
With that, we will discuss as part of being on the next agenda.
Yeah.
So bring that point up then, please.
Okay.
Madam President, can Mr. Thompson kind of word that a little bit differently so I can put it as an item on the agenda?
Okay. The criteria for receiving hazardous pay. Criteria or requirements.
That was
for
Mark's
choosing
question, correct?
Yeah.
I had that down for Mark's question. I was talking about the one Mr. Thompson just mentioned.
Well, that would be a good thing if you think about it. If they're getting hazard pay, would that mean that they waive any type of release the board and release the school and NHS for any kind of liabilities based on the fact that they're getting hazard pay.
No. No offense. No.
So Ms. Cooper, just put on the agenda, just put under what Mark said, the requirements.
Okay.
And then NHA can help us figure as a part of what Mark was saying, the pay amount and how it's to be spent, et cetera, et cetera. So in that, we could include legal liability.
Exactly.
Thank
So
you.
we can discuss all of that, you know, the legal liability based on what Mark said.
Okay.
So in addition to what Mark said.
Yeah, well, I think the legal liability, I think like what Khadija is saying, the legal liability may be something separate from the
Yeah, it is.
compensation, because the legal liability is gonna be something you got to look at for all the teachers that are returning to the classroom. And I don't know how that's
Right.
handled, but that's something we may need to talk to legal about.
Right? So it's on the agenda, and most likely Donna will be at the meeting and she can guide us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else for the next agenda? All right, moving right along. We had a public comment to come via the board email. So Selena, would you read that for us right quick? Thanks.
Yeah, just a second here.
And I'm looking at the guidelines, I'm looking at the participants, and we don't have anyone outside of us where I would have to give the guidelines, but she's gonna read it since it's an email. Thank you very much.
This was received this morning,
Uh-huh.
and it's to Wake Forest Board of Directors and Principal Gill. And it reads, I, like many parents, filled out the form regarding what we would like for the last trimester of the year. I did want to take a moment to write to you with a few follow-up comments and a few questions before your meeting on opening the school. Please understand, I am all for the school opening. My children are in the hybrid model right now. I have a child who has an IEP. He meets daily with an EC teacher for 30 minutes. He also meets with the speech and occupational therapist. He would excel at being in the school setting. But I am also a seasoned parent. I have 5 kids. I have had at least one child in school for the last 17 years. I know how important it is for these kids to be in school. However, I do have some concerns. First, listen to the teachers. I know many parents want their kids back in school, but if the teachers are not comfortable or feel safe that it will affect their teaching, please take the teachers' opinions first. Second, if you decide to open the K-5 to more days, please look closely at how you will keep these kids separated. We love our school, but the only issue I have ever had was the amount of students in the class size. Last year, my first graders had 31 kids in their class. They had to share cubbies and sit so close to each other. Now WFCA has put themselves in a position on how can they open safely with so many kids sitting on top of each other. Unless you plan to divide up the kids again and make smaller classes, the classrooms will be full of students and they will not be able to keep themselves separated 3 to 6 feet. I am also concerned that having one grade teacher virtual and more students wanting hybrid, the remaining 2 grade teachers will be overwhelmed, not just with so many students in their class, but being able to help each one with their Chromebooks. If the kids do go back in full time, this will mean less time on their Chromebook and more mask breaks. Going 2 days in a mask without many breaks is hard enough on these kids. Going to school to sit on a computer is not helping either. With the rain and cold days, their recess has turned into more time on the Chromebook. The kids are not able to play with each other in the classes, so they sit at their desks on their Chromebook. I have a hard time knowing that I would be sending my kids to sit at their desks most of the day. If they do go all week, can you look at shortening the hours? Other charter schools have shorter hours. Is that extra 30 minutes to an hour necessary right now? When I first looked at WFCA, I was told that extra time in school was to allow for extra recess. Now the kids don't even get that. They are eating in their rooms, having specials in their rooms, having recess in their rooms. These kids need a break. Please know I truly appreciate everything the school has done. The teachers have been amazing adjusting, and I fully support each and every one of them. If they think they can keep the students separated, I will trust their decision. I did, however, want to express my concerns as a parent. I may not be in the majority of many of the parents who want 5 days a week, but I did want to share a different opinion. Thank you for taking the time to really listen to our teachers and parents. A concerned parent.
Thank you very much for that. We appreciate her taking the time out to share how she felt. Thank
Madam,
you so much.
Madam,
Yes, Madam
it's-
Vice President?
it's Marilyn. I just want to make very sure that this email is answered. I don't want the email to be sent and never replied. So can you tell me the process for doing that?
Typically, I would reply, and I will, unless you would like to, on behalf of the board.
No, I would like you to. I think it'd be great if you would. I think sometimes we just are not aware, of when communications are made. So I'm happy. If you're going to reply, I'm happy.
And I'll make sure the board gets a draft copy of what I would say before I answer her.
Thank you.
Because in the comments, it does say, we will respond, but not at the meetings. Yes, in a timely manner. Yes, ma'am. Thank you very much. All righty. Thanks for reading that. Any announcements? Any announcements? All righty. If no further business, I move that we adjourn.
Madam President, I move that we adjourn for the evening.
You may second. I've already moved that we do.
I'll second that then.
All righty. It has been moved by Hilda Pallay and seconded by Mark Marley that with no further business, we adjourn. Is there discussion about any other matter during the open session today? If not, roll call, please.
Hilda Parlay,
Approve.
Marilyn Burnett,
Approve.
Mark Marley,
Approved.
Selena Gary approves, Nicholas Gorneau,
Approve.
and Willie Thompson.
Approved.
We have a unanimous decision to conclude our meeting, and it is 6:22 p.m.
Thank you very much, board, for another productive meeting. And everybody stay well and stay safe. Thank you. And Chris and Ms. Cooper.
Yes.
Have a great evening.
Thank you.